Sidewalk? Is that?
You're on the maps, you probably see a pole already there.
Yeah, I see the signpost.
That's where
The sign
used
is
to be.
there.
When her husband was alive, the sign was there.
It was for him?
Yeah, there was no driveway at the time.
Well, the driveway is there. It's, you know, and it's pretty flat and there's a door.
They, given the conditions, that we allow it on an interim basis for 6 months. That would be my recommendation.
It's existing as on an interim basis right now?
No.
We denied it back in August.
But is the sign?
She brought it back up again, reviewed again.
What had happened is about 6 years ago, when her husband was living, a handicap sign went up for a 6-month emergency basis, temporary basis. And because there was no oversight at that time, the sign stayed there and existing, and the husband had passed away whenever years ago. And then we were trying to clean up all the signs. So the application was put up for 6 months for the husband at that time. Since then, 4 years ago, they did an addition at the house and added a driveway there. But there is no sidewalks there, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're ever going to be doing that street over, or you would know, Nick, because of the sidewalk. There's no walking there or whatever. So.
It seems to me that access to the driveway is closer to the house and it would be safer.
Yes, it's the front door, not the side door. The side door side door goes to a apartment in the house.
Oh, it's a two-family? Oh,
The issue is if somebody.
But one of the other issues is if somebody calls and said, I broke my leg, all right, do we give them a handicap sign, or I? If they had permits, right. So they don't, okay. Okay.
is there documentation of an existing medical condition that warrants a handicap sign?
Yes, she uses one of the scooters to get around it.
Okay, what's the will of the board? Someone want to make a motion? Yeah.
It is allowed there.
It's a one-way street, so it's allowed on both sides.
Yeah, it's allowed on both sides. Put a sign there, I don't think it can go where it is now because it's blocked in the case of an emergency. It was not a key. It'll probably have to be moved.
Okay.
Yep. Plate on the van.
Yes.
It almost looks like the car's pulled right up to the fence, so you couldn't even walk by between the fence and the car. That's not good.
That's
That's
what
not
it was
good, so she
before.
wants to just step out of her car and walk around.
Okay. Want to make a motion
You're
to
gonna have to push it all.
decline?
Motion to decline.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, all in favor, all opposed? Okay, motion has been struck, declined, whatever. Number 3, amend Schedule 13 of Title 10, parking restrictions generally by adding Sears Street, no parking on the odd side from Bay Road to the dead end. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of that? Anyone opposed to this change? Okay, do we have any reason why this? Okay, so should we table this, till we have further, information?
Motion to table?
Motion to table, second, all in favor, all opposed, thank you. Number 4, amend Schedule 4, of Title 10, isolated stop signs by adding Malden Street for eastbound traffic at Newhall, Malden Street for westbound traffic at Newhall, and Newhall Street for northbound traffic at Malden Street. This essentially makes a 3-way stop at that intersection. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of doing this? Hearing and seeing none. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition?
Hi, Julie Demaro, traffic coordinator for the City of Revere. This intersection's being studied right now with some of the people on this Traffic Commission board. I think we should hold off before we put any signs in until we have an accurate design for that area that's been approved and looked at, not just for this committee, but also for Mr. Serino to take a look at as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, Councilor Serino sent me a email today. He's working, he couldn't make the meeting, but he wishes to go on record as in favor of the 3-way stop. I'll just do a little synopsis. He feels as though it's a dangerous intersection, and he lives off of Malden Street. He traverses through Hall's Corner multiple times a day, and he feels as though it's a dangerous intersection, and he is in favor of making this a 3-way stop. And if you want to put this in the record. So what's the feeling of the
Well, I'm not against a 3-way stop, but I agree with Julie in terms of this pavement markings and organizational markings that define traffic flow. It'll be better there that we can put in to create additional lanes. That, I think, should be done first, and then we can institute the 3-way stop.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, along those same lines, the engineering department's working on a couple of different options for that intersection that may or may not include a 3-way stop or other ways to, make that intersection safer, for the general public. And, for that reason, I would make a motion to decline the 3 new stop signs at this time.
Okay. A second?
Seconded.
Second. All in favor, all opposed? Okay, sure.
All right, just so we are clear here, Newhall Street at Malden, there is a stop sign there.
Right.
It's not in the books.
Okay.
Can we vote on that one there to have it on the books?
Okay.
Right now, it's not enforceable.
Okay. So can I hear a motion to make, what's that? C. Okay, on number 4, number C, or letter C, Newhall Street for northbound traffic at Malden Street.
Motion will approve that.
Motion to approve. Here a second? All in favor, all opposed? Okay. Stop sign at Newhall as you enter Malden Street. Okay, now we're on to requests. Number 1 is amend Schedule 11 of Title 10, handicapped persons parking areas by adding 21 Kingman, 128 Sigourney Street, and 87 Revere Street. Ralph, do you have any? If we just add them to the, okay. A motion to move these to public hearing.
Motion.
Okay. All in favor, all opposed? Those will be moved to a public hearing in February. Number 2, the mayor requests the Traffic Commission to study the intersection of Linehurst Road and Agatha Street to determine the feasibility of replacing the Do Not Enter sign that previously faced easterly towards the North Revere neighborhood. In recent years, heavy vehicles making deliveries to the plaza on Bennett Highway exit through the North Revere neighborhood instead of via Route 1, causing dangerous conditions for those who live in the neighborhood. Just a little history on this. I think Sergeant Janino, correct me if I'm wrong, a Do Not Enter, that was never on the books for for up that area. I guess it was there at some point. For some reason, it's not there any longer. We did go up and make sure that no heavy trucking signs are now at this spot and on Salem Street. So those exist now. Whether we want to move this do not enter sign to a public hearing in February. Yeah, to look at the feasibility and hear what the neighborhood has to say. I mean, a do not enter sign is one thing, but I wouldn't be in favor of making that upper end one way, because then everyone would have to go out to Route 1. Or up in that area, is that correct? Okay, so you want to move this to a,
Motion to move to a public hearing?
okay, second? Second?
Just to give you a point of information, the truck sign is up there right now. I got to call into Mass DOT to find out if it was ever approved by the state or not.
Okay,
That might have to go before the state again.
okay. Number 3, the mayor requests the Traffic Commission to study the intersection of Washington Ave and Mountain Avenue to determine the feasibility of either a 3-way stop at this intersection or a similar course of action, which would enable vehicles to safely turn on and off of Mountain Avenue. What's the,
Isn't there a stop sign now?
there's a stop sign for Mountain Avenue as you approach Washington. This is to make it a 3-way stop. That would be stopping traffic on Washington Avenue. I personally am not a fan of 3-way and 4-way stops, but
Seems difficult on Washington Avenue to stop traffic
right,
in the main thoroughfare like that.
okay.
And where there's adequate safety control on the incoming street on Mountain Ave. So I agree with you. I think we should leave it as a one-way stop.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to, so not to send this to a public hearing?
I would table it for now.
Okay. Motion to table. All in favor, all opposed? Okay. Number 4, Councilor Novoselsky requests the following. A, request that Walnut Place be designated as residential permit parking on the southerly side from Walnut Ave to Sumner Street for 24 hours. I think we agreed we were going to table these. Okay, motion to table.
Motion.
Thank you. Thank you. B, request that Woods Avenue have residential permit parking on the easterly side from Revere Beach Parkway to Overlook Avenue. Hours be changed from 24 hours to 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So I'm assuming that has signs on it, but they want to change the hours.
The only problem here is later on, when the permit goes into effect,
Right?
it will no longer be 9 to 5, it'll be 24 hours or overnight.
Motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
Thank you. C, request that the Traffic Commission include in the Revere City ordinances the prohibition and fining of parking within 10 feet of any crosswalk lines either side when not within the 20 feet from here to corner law.
Crosswalk is the crosswalk. I mean, there's no place where you go and you park near a crosswalk and get tagged, unless you put each one individually
Right.
with 2 signs, no parking, clean signs.
So there's nothing on the books and there's no law, state law that governs this?
The only law for crosswalk is crosswalk to crosswalk.
Oh, so some of these traffic have a suggestion, but there's nothing.
So the current law is 20 feet from an intersection or here to corner.
Okay,
Okay, but if you were to kind of restrict parking, the federal highway saying that if the speed of the roadway is 25 miles or less, then you would have to restrict parking within 20 feet on each side of the crosswalk.
okay,
If it's 26 to 35 miles per hour, then it's 30 feet.
okay.
So that's even more excessive than what he's asking. I think at this point, and we've talked about this a little bit, we'd have to look at how many parking spots will be eliminated if we were to do this,
Right.
and actually how many crosswalks this really does affect throughout the city. And then if we start putting daylighting down 10 feet on each side, or 18 feet, which is the full parking spot length, how many parking spaces will that make it become illegal
Okay.
on both sides? So there's a few things we need to look at here before we just say, okay, let's do this.
Okay.
If you're looking for something mid-block that's unsignalized, I mean, I think we should really take a look at specific locations that he's suggesting.
Okay, we could definitely take it on a case-by-case basis, but for a crosswalk, if they stripe, say, 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet from a crosswalk, that alone isn't able to have a officer tag.
You need the signs on both sides of it.
You need signs on both sides.
Signs, and there are yellow curb and signs on both sides designating the area you can't back in.
Okay. All right, so have a motion to table this? Second?
I mean, if there's
Second?
a specific location you want done,
We can take it up
take a look at the
individually.
location you want done
Right,
and address it one by one.
okay.
So just for the crosswalk that Councilor Novoselsky is referring to, I think when he thought of this motion, was the actual crosswalk on North Shore Road across from the Marshall's Plaza and the old Caravan Club. I think he's looking specifically at that crosswalk.
Okay.
Even if you were to say, yeah, we're going to do it, we'd have to actually see who actually owns that part of the road. Is it state or is it us? So then we'd have to look at state. So then we would ask them, and if it's their road, they're gonna put 20 feet on each side. Because they go by a different standard,
Okay,
okay?
all right, so motion to table this for now, and? Okay, thank you. Number 5, Councilor Keefe requests that the Traffic Commission consider making the west side, the no sidewalk side of McClevey Street, no parking. Okay. I believe we have we sent an email explaining this. McClevey Street is two ways, yes. Okay, so, okay, I see it. Thank you. He states 4 reasons. In the interest of public safety, when vehicles park on both sides of McClevey, public safety vehicles cannot get by safely. People park directly behind the driveway of 79 Rand Street, blocking egress to their driveway. During snow removal, if cars are parked on both sides of the street, plows absolutely cannot get by. And this change would not affect any residents as there are no homes on this street. Now, this is an email from a resident to Patrick Keefe.
I say we send it to a public hearing.
Okay? Motion to send this to a public hearing. Second? Okay. Number 6, the MBTA is requesting a public hearing regarding the following bus stops. 266 Cushman Ave, Adams Street at Adams Court, Park Ave at Dale Street, Park Ave at South Cambridge Street, Park Ave at South Irving Street, Proctor Ave at Coolidge Street, and Winthrop Ave at Elm Street. So I'm assuming they want to lengthen these spots, and there'd be quite a few parking spaces impacted by this. Yes,
So,
Julie?
Actually, we met as a group, and we decided that there was only 3 stops where we could lengthen the actual pull-in for the bus, and that would be Adams Street at Adams Court, Park Ave and South Cambridge Street, and then again at Winthrop Ave and Elm Street. The other locations, we felt as though parking should remain there. If we took any parking spots away, it was just going to cause an issue someplace else in the neighborhood.
Okay.
But like, for example, Adams Street and Adams Court, you can't park on that side of the road anyway. So we figured there's no reason why they can't have two signs and lengthening the bus pull-in. Winthrop Ave and Elm Street, that is actually right near the Revere League for Special Needs, but the driveway has two means of egress, so we felt that was okay. And then Park Ave at Cambridge Street, we felt that was okay because there was enough parking in the back of that building and on the side street for that particular condo association that sits at the corner. So it's really just the three stops that we're requesting the change. We sent the comments over to the MBTA. We're waiting to hear back from them. But it's just the three. The others would stay as is.
Okay, and they will appear at the public?
They will appear if you allow for a public hearing. I have to get back to the consulting firm that is handling this for them.
Okay. You want to move this to a public hearing then?
Motion to move those three items to a public hearing?
Okay. Second, okay. All in favor, opposed? We'll move that to a public hearing. And number 7, the MBTA is requesting a public hearing regarding improvements to stop 5716 in the area of Broadway and Page Street. Julie, do you have any information on that?
Yeah, so this was the original stop that used to be in front of the Speakeasy restaurant and pub, and then it got moved down by order of a motion through the city council to move the stop downward. The T is questioning where the stop was moved to and whether it's compliant. They would like to move the stop back to its original location. When we discussed the other bus stop lengthening suggested by them, we talked about maybe moving this particular bus stop further down Broadway, a little bit closer to probably past the Eye Optical Space office that's there, put the stop there. So this is something that I think we need to get back in touch with the T about in terms of what they really want to do. We probably should send it to a public hearing because it was in the original spot. Somebody wanted it moved, it got moved, and now the T wants to move it back to its original placement. And I think what the problem for this one it was is they weren't notified that it had been moved.
So are they saying that we, the city, moved it on just arbitrarily?
Yeah, it was put, there was a motion put in to move the bus stop and it was moved.
Okay. We moved the signs? Oh, okay.
So I don't think we should move it to a public hearing right now. I think we should have a meeting with the T and come up with an alternate location for that and then send that to a public hearing. So rather than have it.
Okay, could you convey that to us?
Yeah, I
the
can
MBTA?
convey that to her. That was one of the items that when we left the group that day, we were all unsure of how we wanted to move forward with it. And I think we just need to go back and look at the history again and see
Okay.
why it was moved, what was the complaints and all that.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so we won't send this to a
Public hearing until we
further information?
Okay.
Second.
Second that, okay,
find a location.
great. Okay, now we have a late communication, or 2 late communications. Number 1, Councilor Guanasso requests that the Traffic Commission establish 24-hour resident parking on the following streets: Roosevelt Street, Washington Street, McKinley Street, Pierce Street, Burnham Street, Lowell Street, Fry Street, Boston Street, Fairfield Street, and Martin Street for the following reasons: due to the close proximity of the Paul Revere School, faculty and guests park all day long, limiting parking for residents. Due to the MBTA bus stop at this location, commuters are parking and taking the bus to Boston. Are we going to follow along lines of tabling this?
Make a motion to table.
Table. Second? Second. All in favor, all opposed? Okay. Number 2, Councilor Powers requests that Lawrence Road be made a one-way from Leonard Road to Sear Street. Do we have any reasoning why, Sergeant? Narrow street. So you want to move this to a public hearing? Okay. Motion to move. Second? Okay. All in favor, all opposed? Okay, great. Any other comments? We'll close the meeting. Now, when will our next meeting be, Sergeant? Last Thursday?
Last Thursday of the month, because short month.
Okay. February 27th.
There won't be enough time to get this. By the time the public hearing for it, there won't be enough time to get in the paper for 2 weeks.
Okay, so the next Traffic Commission meeting will be February 27th, and I'd motion to adjourn. So moved. All in favor, all opposed? Thank you.